I have a saying, you get the government you deserve. You know what I mean? And so that may seem kind of harsh, but if you think about it, that's kind of true. If everything's going okay, then people aren't saying anything, and then the elected officials think that everything's okay. Well, if it's not going okay and we do something about it and we make some positive change, well, then we get the government we deserve, which is a better one. And in this case, I'm hoping we're going to do that and win. And I think we will. Okay, thank you. So I'm sure that everybody here has gotten a letter in the mail talking about your garbage bills are increasing yet again, right?
Yeah.
Well, you know, there's one guy that's always there at these city council meetings, and that's the representative from the garbage company. Isn't that interesting? So the thing that I notice about the garbage bills, if you happen to ever be late on your bill, it's like a 40% fee on top of what you normally pay. And I think that's not right and it's not fair. If you forgot about it or you're struggling with your bills or whatever, you shouldn't face yet another financial setback that you have to pay for on your garbage bill. I just don't think it's fair. You know, you're basically kicking a man while he's down, if you ask me. So, anyway, some ideas here. I've had some wonderful time spent over there at the retirement community. One of the ladies we had a really nice conversation with was Alice Fishback. And you know, Alice, she just had a real simple request, and she's like, hey, you know, it'd be kind of nice to go to the ball game. I just can't get there here in town. And I'm like, oh, well, okay, sounds like a reasonable request to me. We've got a bus, but we're not using it to do that. And, you know, I think that we should do that. The other thing is, of course, you know, many of the retirees, you know, they can't get up 2 flights of stairs, and there is no elevator to get to the city council meeting, and that's not right either. So we have a plan to that will address that. If I can get my computer to work here. Another trick that the city has been doing is, you know, they're going to talk about employee pay increases, things like that, and they have it on the agenda. And then people show up, they take time off of work, and then they re-table the meeting. We're not having it tonight, we're doing it another time. So you wasted your evening, and you got time off work for nothing. And that is just wrong. And, you know, it's not representing your voice at these meetings, and that's not right. I don't know whether you guys know it or not, but according to Chief Taylor, our crime is 4 times higher than Almsville.
4 times?
4 times higher, because we have half the population of Almsville, but yet our crime rate is twice what Almsville is. So that's 4 times the rate per person. And our teenagers have very few educational and creative outlets right now, and we're going to change that, because we all know that when kids don't have something to do, what do?
They get in fucking trouble.
They get in trouble, that's right. And we want to change that. So this development over here on the way into town from Salem, the developer's going to make millions of dollars. I don't know if it's $200 million, but I know it's more than $50 million. And they were cutting the ground and doing all that in the dead of winter, and that's really expensive to do.
And the houses are only $300,000.
They were going great guns to get it done, and the thing is, and what did they do for this community? Nothing. What did they invest in this community's children? Nothing. They just got a blank check, go ahead and go, build whatever you want, have at it, and we got screwed. And that's not right. Because the fact of the matter is that lake that's over there's a lot of problems with that lake. It's not technically a lake, but there's a lot of problems with it. And who has to pay the maintenance on that? We do, the City of Turner residents. The way it's set up right now, we really don't have access to that lake. So we're paying for it, but we don't get to use it.
We can't even fish in there.
And you can't even fish in it. It's got runoff from the streets and this and that, so there's oil in there and all that stuff. So, you know, you probably wouldn't want to eat the fish. So that's real unfortunate and sad, because when I see a body of water like that, I'm thinking, okay, paddle boats, have the kids go fishing, you know, doing things like that, swimming. But all of those kind of activities, most of them anyway, are really not feasible in that body of water. And that's what's really sad. And I don't know what we can do about it at this point, but I certainly don't want us paying for something that... So my computer keeps power saving on me, thank goodness. It's going to save the environment for all of us. So one of the ways that we're going to fix this, to have access to the meetings. Let's say you want to hear what's going on and you can't get down to the city council meeting. It's going to be live on YouTube. And we're going to have a call-in phone number. And you can, you have to identify who you are, where you live, and you'll be able to give your input, yay, nay, up, down, any comments that you want to add on topics or new business too. So basically, it's given the retirees that have been forgotten, because after talking with them the last week or so, they have been forgotten, and that's pretty sad. So, let's see what else we got here. One of the other things I'm working on is a newspaper. As time goes along and small towns have kind of gotten away from newspapers, and I have it already set up, and it's something that I want to have our high school students helping with that, because if you have a child in sports, then it's kind of cool. It's kind of a little bit of notoriety, famous. They're in the local paper, and so I want to help with that and get that going so that they can get some experience, and also it serves a practical purpose for our community. Wouldn't it be nice to have a little paper going on?
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that's in the corner being a little too loud.
Now, when you go up on the hill, I don't know, if you don't live there, you don't know, but for whatever reason, the developers were approved to build those homes without sidewalks and without curbs. And so there's nothing stopping a car from careening into a child or whoever happens to be walking alongside the road. So this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about.
You gotta be fucking rich to live out there.
And now they're even requiring, while the city is asking, they're paying $450 a year. They want to up it to $2,000 a year to pay for this stuff retroactively on sidewalks and stuff like that. And that's just not right. All that should have been covered by the developer when he put that in. So that's not right. And then the street lights. If there are street lights, I know some of the neighborhoods have 0 street lights. Another cost-cutting measure for the developer that the city went ahead and allowed them to do. And so on the other neighborhood where you do have street lights, the bulb itself is like the cheapest you could buy, and it's really not putting out much light. You go up there and walk around, and it's kind of scary. I mean, it's like you're walking around in the woods.
Not putting out no light, but
And if you're going to do crime, then that's where you're going to go, is an area where it's not well lit, and that's a problem. So I've talked about the crime rate and helping out the chief of police to increase our police force, and it is in the budget. We have over $2 million in the bank, and we've got about $600,000 that we currently spend on employee salaries. So it is in the budget to increase the police force, because when he needs backup for whoever's on duty can be anywhere from 20 minutes on up. And we've spoken to some folks where they call and they don't get a police response for like 4 hours. And one of them didn't get a response at all. So, that's not the kind of neighborhood, that's not the kind of town that I think we want in Turner. So I want to change that. So I'm going to open it up for questions. And anything else you guys want to talk about, or you can come on up here and talk into the mic if you've got a question.
I just want to shake your hand, bro.
Well, thank you, sir. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Does anybody have any questions they want to step on up and use the mic, or
Ask you a question.
go ahead, Joey? Do you want the mic?
I'll just talk real loud. Michael, I like your platform. I am wondering about, working with the federal government on immigration. We got a big vote coming up here on Measure 105, and I'm wondering cooperate with the federal government if they were in town and trying to look for a criminal or something.
Well, yeah, I mean, I would cooperate and follow the law. I think, we're a nation of laws, we should be a city of laws as well, law and order, that kind of thing.
Very good.
Absolutely.
All right. Good.
Thank you.
Yeah, Mike?
Yes.
Yeah, I've lived here about 11 years, and I retired down here and moved down here. What do you think of the pot shop that got put downtown?
Well, that's kind of I mean, it's not, what's that?
Repeat the question.
He's asking, what do I think about the pot shop that's moved into town?
Yeah.
Okay, it's not an easy answer. Let's try the short answer. We don't want to be here all night.
That's all right.
There are medicinal uses for marijuana. There are some beneficial purposes of that plant. I don't want to see Turner have a bunch of pot shops. That's not the kind of thing that I want. I think one is okay, but at the same time, and if this kind of makes sense, I'm against the what they put in there, the measure to make it illegal to add any more. And the reason I say that is it kind of speaks to more favoritism again. Okay, if we're going to limit it, why did we let that guy in and then we close the door and say nobody else? And that doesn't seem right and fair. So I think that we should vote no on that law, and then if another pot shop wants to come into town, I mean, right away, if I was mayor, I'd be against another pot shop coming into town. But 5 years down the road, and I would see what we the people want, you guys, and I would do that. Because, and we're working on a thing to have polling to where you can log in, and when we're looking at a measure, and if you're not there personally to tally your vote, then you would log it electronically so that we know how many people are for it and how many people are against it. On any kind of issue, anything that comes before us, then we have that kind of thing. So everybody's got a say. But what are your thoughts on the pot shop, sir?
My thought is.
Do you want to come up here?
Yeah, I'll do that. What the hell? Welcome. Oh, anyway, yeah, I retired down here, and just so everybody knows, yeah, I'm retired law enforcement. So I wasn't real happy when it came down, and I'm always wondering about Chief Taylor is the more crime in town started since the shop came online or not, or has it been an ongoing new issue? Because living up on the hill where I do, I don't see very much. Do you know anything about that?
About the crime increasing since the shop opened?
Yeah.
Well, I don't see the connection, but I mean, we've had more crime than Almsville since before the shop opened. But, so anyway.
Okay.
What do you guys think? Are you guys happy about the pot shop, or you wish it hadn't opened?
Happy.
I'm happy.
Anybody against it? Say nay. So anybody for it, say yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Well, the thing of it is, I work for a state, and I work with law enforcement, and they said that a lot of the sheriff stuff that I dealt with said they would be glad to see it legalized because it would take 50% of their time that they spend on chasing these people away. They use that money otherwise. And besides that, if we have one pot store here, it doesn't matter. They can close that. They're gonna go and get it at Staten or in Salem or wherever. I mean, all you're doing is cutting the revenues from Turner. They're gonna get it one place or the other. And it's better for them
That's true.
legally than illegally.
That's true. That's true.
It's a
What's that?
state law.
Keep the revenue in town, right?
Who's going to manage the newspaper?
I don't know. So we've been funding this all on my own money. And I won't say how much of that is because my boss is here.
Oh, come on. All for it.
But anyway, I'm going to ask you guys for help because I can't do it all on my own. We do have a lot of things in store to change city council, things like that. So it's not going to be business as usual, things like that. Who's been through Sisters? Who likes the small town of Sisters? Is that a pretty cool little town? I kind of like what they do there. The visually, what they got going on, it's pretty, tasteful, things like that. I mean, I would like to see that kind of, theme, if that makes sense. And to me, I like Americana 1950s. I mean, things were good back then. And we can bring it to this small town. We really can. And I'm serious when I say the community center for the teens and having elderly people come there during the day, interact with the teens and stuff like that, and the skate park. And I know how we can get that done and not raise the taxes. So anyway, so I'm going to ask, there's a thing in Oregon called the political tax contribution credit, and it's $50 per person, $100 per couple. And what that is, it's a dollar per dollar tax credit that you will claim back on your taxes when you file next year. So if you give $50 if you're single, $100 if you're married, it ends up costing you nothing. And I would like to ask for some help with that, because we've had to pay for everything. I mean, they have, and I asked the city for this, and they just didn't want to give me any help. Surprise, surprise, right? Because they've got everybody's email addresses and phone numbers, and we had to pay for all of that, and it's expensive. And the mailer was expensive. That was over $1,000 just for the mailer. And this is a non-paid position. I'm doing this because I care about this town. That's the bottom line truth. Thank you. Thank you. So I don't know if I mentioned it or not, but we did have some interest at the senior center. Some of the folks there, they know how to use computers, but they don't have them. And what I found interesting was they also, each of them has to pay for their own internet access. And I don't understand that. I don't understand why they don't have a wireless router and this stuff so they can have internet access. I don't. So I want to bring that, and it's really not going to cost much, and I think we can get it done on a donation basis so it won't cost the city anything. But I think they need computer and Wi-Fi access and stuff like that. If you do care to make a contribution, if you can't afford $50 per person, just even $10. Anything helps, whatever you can do. And if you're making out a check, please make it out to Friends of Michael Cross. And I sure appreciate your help with that, because I can't do this on my own. I'll lead the charge, and I'm a heck of a fighter, and people that know me will say, yeah, Michael Cross is a heck of a fighter, and it's gotten him in trouble before, you know what I mean? So, anyway, but I just need your help. Any other questions? Yes, sir. Do you want to use the mic?
Hi, my name's Chris Fairbrother. You're Michael Cross. Somebody walked up and gave this to me at my house.
Okay.
So there are a lot of great bullet points here. Lower taxes, lower garbage bills, lower sewer water bills, ensure safe drinking water, improve public safety, community safety, build skate park, etc., etc. These are all good things. What I need from you to vote for you, and you haven't convinced me yet, I need you to go through these and tell me how you're going to lower taxes, how are you going to lower garbage bills, how are you going to lower sewer and water bills, etc., etc. That's what I need if I'm going to vote for you.
These are all good questions, and the man's asking how I'm going to do these things. So basically, lowering taxes. I asked the city for a budget, and I was shocked at what they sent me. It's woefully inadequate, and I'm not gonna rock the boat until after the election, okay? Because strategically, it's smarter that way. Please understand that. They sent me, for the entire city budget, they sent me a 2-page thing. And it does not break it down. I know line items like the city employee salaries are $600 and some odd thousand. It doesn't tell me who's getting what and what those departments are. So I don't have that, but I'm going to go through that with a fine-tooth comb and change things. And there's more than one way to skin a cat. I'm very creative. I've started several successful businesses. I operated Clean Right Services Corporation here in Salem, and we had clients such as Target Store, Walmart, Kmart, Arby's Restaurants, Sherry's Restaurants, some independents. That big stern wheeler boat on the Columbia River was one of our clients. I mean, so I know how to do these things. It takes a little bit of a leap of faith, and I'm going to go into some of how I'm going to do that. But an example is the subdivision that came into town on Turner Road, okay? Like I said, the developer is going to make millions of dollars. And what did we get out of it? What did we get out of it? So I need to look and I need to find out what we can do to get some money from them at this point. Because if they're going to make millions of dollars, why can't they spend $300,000 on a teen center? Why can't they do that? I mean, they should, right? I mean, that's reasonable. That's a reasonable request. Lowering the garbage bills. Okay, so the garbage contractor is approved. I don't know if it's annually or biannual basis, but their rates are, they have to get all that approved with the city, and it's a simple thing. You take the late fee off, or we're canceling your contract. I mean, or you reduce it. I mean, maybe $5 or $10, but it shouldn't be 40% of your total bill. Improve community safety. It's in the budget. We've got over $2 million in the bank. We can hire another officer, and I think that would improve safety, more of a visibility. Kind of another novel idea we used to see more of, and we don't lately, is officers on foot. And I think, getting them out of their vehicle and on foot gets them familiar with the children, the kids. They see them, they don't hear a vehicle coming, and you get to know the people more. And that's another way I want to do that. And then number 9, making sure all areas of Turner are accessible by emergency vehicles. It's the law. And it is the law. And I don't understand how some of this stuff actually got approved. Because I'm familiar with developing, I've done a little bit of it, I know how to run heavy equipment. And when they're looking at a cul-de-sac or any type of a development, they look at it as a big fire truck coming in there at 40 miles an hour or whatever, and being able to do a U-turn right in there. And if it can't do it, no 3-point turns are allowed. It has to be able to whip in there and whip right out. And some of this stuff, I don't know. It's just they're not able to do that, so I don't know why they did that. And then sponsoring classes for our citizens and community barbecues. Let's face it, it's real difficult in today's society to raise children. There's a number of challenges. They're either on video games all the time, or they're causing trouble, this sort of thing, and a lot of times they don't want to do their chores and stuff like that. And so we're going to have classes that'll help our parents, sponsored at the churches, things like that, community centers. We'll have people come in, and these are people that are good at what they do. They're not like I don't want to, anytime, that maybe some people in here might disagree, but it seems like when the state gets involved with something, it costs 2 or 3 times more, and it takes twice as long to get it done, and it's not as good a job. And the private party is oftentimes better to handle these kind of things, and so it would basically be that kind of a thing. I'm not going to say we're going to have Department of Human Services come in and teach our kids. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about private practice counselors, people that are just skilled and that kind of a thing. Maybe it's the church pastor. I mean, again, back in 1950s Americana, this is the kind of stuff they did. They didn't have the state come and train your kids. I mean, that wasn't how things worked.
Okay, so hey, you're wearing a Masonic pin, right?
Uh-oh, here it comes.
So what about the lodge? What are they willing to put out and do?
Well, the Pearl Lodge really doesn't have much of a budget. I mean, they're just...
It doesn't take money. That's what you're talking about. It doesn't take money
you mean like just help?
to do these extra, like counseling things and stuff.
Well, yeah, then they would step up. I mean, sure, absolutely. They've got the Shriners Hospital for children and things like
right.
that. And so they're all about giving back to community, and that's actually one of the reasons why I'm doing this, because in Freemasonry, one of our sayings is you make good men better. And before that, I mean, I was in the military.
It's not all about men.
Yeah, what about bad men?
Well, you're right. You were asking about Freemasonry. We got a question.
I'm not.
So on this
Where does what?
The funding come from.
For what?
All the programs.
For teaching the kids and stuff?
Because you're going to have to pay that as well. To come in and educate parents.
Well, somebody that's skilled in parenting classes or, you know, parenting things like that, you know, their billing rate is normally like what, $100 an hour or something like that, give or take?
So, in this.
Give or take?
In this community, how many people can afford $100 an hour to have these?
Okay, well, you haven't let me finish the question. I wanted to, do you agree $100 an hour? Is that about what they charge?
Yeah.
Okay.
Plus I gotta look at-
Yeah, so how many kids are in there? 10, 20? So we just divide it by
So
that.
our population has now grown exponentially. We have new housing everywhere. We have not the small community that we used to have. So we have tons more children. So how much money do you think it's gonna be?
I mean, my son goes there on Wednesday nights right across the street. He enjoys the heck out of it. I mean, you know, it's
So
a great
my
program.
daughter.
From where?
You know, it's a good thing. I mean, we'll figure out a way to do it. I'm a positive person. You know, the glass is half full kind of a guy here. So, I mean,
So your kid goes over there. Not everybody goes up there. It's a small church.
I think she's asking for.
you know, but you know what? You know what we could do is maybe we'll look in the city budget and we'll trim some costs here and there, and lo and behold, we'll have an extra $20,000 or $50,000, and we can put that into some other programs that we're talking about. How about that? That would be a good, neat thing,
What
right?
kind of programs would you think about cutting?
I can't hear.
What kind of programs are you thinking about cutting?
Okay, again, I'm going to reiterate. All I've seen is the 2-page budget. I haven't seen the line item thing. I'm not talking about cutting any programs. I'm talking about making things run more efficiently. And I think everybody can agree there's room to do that around here.
Well, there are, but if you're talking about this whole children thing, and I totally agree with that, but how do you propose to do that?
Propose to do what?
What you're talking about, handling over children.
I can't hear.
Cindy, why don't you step forward so they can hear you speak?
No, I mean, just right here. So you were talking about your proposal of helping all these children and the program that we're thinking of developing, so how do you think that?
I think one thing that we could do is, you know, I think that there should be after school programs for children that is not.
How do you tell me that? So all these programs that you're talking about, how do you propose to fund them?
How do I propose to fund them?
Yeah.
Well, I've already told you.
So what?
I've already told you. So I'm not, you know, Phil Knight, I can't write a check, but, you know, we'll come up with the money. How about that? Take a leap of faith, vote me in, and we'll go from there.
Well, good luck. I hope the best.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
And we have another question, I guess.
Yeah, awesome question. So,
Do you want the mic?
I don't need the mic. Charter has 2,000 people in it right now.
Family Jim.
Rally in a bar, right?
I'm just saying that you need to have things in perspective, and you can't have too much of any one thing. You can't have too much development. You can't have too many pot shops. You can't have too many bars. What about a porn shop? We're on the subject. What about that? I don't want a porn shop in this town.
Well, the thing
But
that-
according to your logic, we should just let them in. It's more revenue. I mean,
Well, I'm
money,
telling
but where's
you,
the money in
all
Turner?
your programs that you wanna do is gonna take revenue.
I want to put in my 2 cents.
come on over, Jim.
I know about.
You know, Jim is actually the hero here.
You know,
And
I want to tell you.
here, Jim, come here and take the mic.
Wait, no, I didn't need a mic. Do you think I need a mic? No. No, I don't need a mic. We're having a community discussion here. These houses at Crawford Crossing will raise your taxes because they did not charge enough to take care of the streets that trucks are going to ruin. They're only charging $1,000 per house for the destruction that they're going to do on the streets.
What about?
They are not paying, excuse me.
What about the gravel pit?
Absolutely. That is not a lake. That is a storm water retention basin that was formed by unregulated mining. All the water that's in there can be contaminated by
This is true.
the same stuff that's in Detroit that ruined our water. Because your city administration went and lobbied so that they can use larger than 5 horsepower motors in that lake. Now they're going to take those to Detroit Lake and they're going to bring it down here and we're going to get cytotoxin. Guaranteed with these temperatures. Now who's going to pay to clean that up?
Well, I'll tell you
Not
what,
Crawford Crossing.
If you look at the original agreement on that, you will see that there was land dedicated for a city park.
There was, but they put it on a landslide zone. It's on the back side by Valview. They were originally going to develop that, but the man across the street there filed a lawsuit named Scott. And they were going to build houses on a landslide zone with the approval of David Sawyer and this dumbass mayor we got. We live up on Solarian where we got traffic trucks coming to a right angle with 4 children living in that next house, and until last week we did not get a sign. Now we got a cheap ass sign that says trucks. No one can see. The road is 23 foot wide, the dump trucks are 18 foot wide, and we have 2 school buses approved by this city administration. No safety plan, no money for service delivery charges for this, nothing. Give the developer everything he wants. If you want this town to run like a real town instead of a butt piece of Salem, you get a new mayor. You participate.
Amen. Amen.
You get in here and you participate. And then, after this goes, you recall the 2 jackasses that voted for this. Martha Pinch.
What's going on is cronyism, folks. That's what. Thank you, Jim. Thank you very much, Jim. And you have a wealth of knowledge there. Yeah, these are all good questions. Yeah.
I have one more final question.
Yes.
Urban doesn't own it anymore though. That's what, if I can stay, I live on Delaney. Oh,
Do you want to use the mic?
yeah. I live on Delaney. For the last 3 to 4 weeks, we have had about 5 dump trucks with pump trailers or not, an hour. Monday through Friday, our road is covered. They're going 30 to 40 miles an hour. They can't stop. It's dangerous. And they have to go up Delaney because they have to go the backside through Witzel to get into the new Eastwood development.
You know why they take that route? Because the old bridge was condemned, that they couldn't drive gravel trucks across that bridge. They used to come across Whipper Road to get the I-5. That's how they used to ship that. Then the old
They're
bridge.
going to Eastwood.
Yeah, this is before he moved here apparently, that they used to go out Whipper Road, the road that I live on.
Why would they
We
get
used
gravel right there?
I think we can, let's talk about what we do know, and then I want to bring the meeting to a close, if that's okay. What we do know is that issues that are on the agenda for meetings get canceled when there is people wanting to go in and talk about it. Those meetings get canceled. Okay, and there's no reason for that. That's called cronyism. It shouldn't be happening. This kind of stuff. They canceled the meeting on the 25th. They canceled it, and I assumed it was because I was running. I want to tell you guys something else. The business day after they found out I was running, I got a call from the city, and you know what they said? Mr. Cross, because I'm doing a remodel project on our house. Mr. Cross, your building permits have expired. You need to take care of that. And then I got another thing saying, and you got to remove some of your signs that are too close to the road, even though they're like 12 feet away or something. So anyway, I hope you'll vote me, write me in, and if you could help benefit the campaign financially, we would be most appreciative. Thank you so much. Thank you.